All right, good Friday morning, everyone. It's 21 News Chief Meteorologist Eric Wilhelm here. We've got a busy weather day ahead of us today. We had kind of a little bit of a surprise Thursday afternoon with an isolated severe storm in Trumbull County that prompted a tornado warning. Today's threat will be much different in that everyone's kind of in the same boat today, and the timing is just about the same throughout our area, but this is an increasing threat as we go towards the evening. We're far away from severe weather season. We're into the final stretches. In fact, today is the final full day of summer, and we're talking about severe weather here in mid-September, but sometimes the atmosphere just has a few tricks up its sleeve. Here is the setup today. The weather's going to be quiet this morning. Nothing on the radar across our area this morning. It's going to stay that way through a good chunk of the afternoon, actually. But this cold front out here is what is advancing eastward, and out ahead of it, a line of showers and thunderstorms already getting going from Michigan through Indiana down into parts of Illinois as well. I want to take off the current radar and show you the severe weather risks as we go into the late afternoon today. All right, so here's the overall severe weather risk later on today. You see some pretty colors on the map here. What do these mean? Well, this color that we're in here, it's kind of an orange color, appropriately enough, after the Browns' victory last night. This is not something we see very often around here, a few times a year probably. This is what we call an enhanced risk of severe weather. It's a category above slight, which is the yellow color. And this is getting into the territory that, again, we oftentimes don't see around here when the Storm Prediction Center issues a risk that is this elevated for our area. So all of us are in that same risk category as we go through the late afternoon today and into the evening especially. We'll talk about the specific timing in just a second, but that's kind of the overall risk today. Let's talk about the individual types of severe weather that may occur today. What I'm showing you here is the risk of a tornado within 25 miles of any one location later on today. Now the numbers may be a little hard to see here, but this brown color that extends from Rochester and Buffalo down through Crawford County, parts of Mercer County, this is a 5% contour. That means there's a 5% risk of a tornado within 25 miles of any one location later on today. Now 5% is a pretty small number, right? But that's actually, when we're talking about a tornado risk, that's a fairly elevated number. So one thing we're going to have to watch out for later on as we get into the evening is the possibility of an isolated tornado or two, particularly north and east of Youngstown into western PA and up into southwestern New York. The atmosphere, there'll be some turning of the wind aloft as you go up in height through the atmosphere today, and some changing wind speeds as you go up through a layer of the atmosphere today. It's going to be breezy down here at the surface, but the winds aloft are going to be howling pretty good today, and both the change in the wind direction and the change in the wind speed can, if conditions are just right, create some turning in the atmosphere. So I don't want to play up the tornado risk too much today, but it is elevated. It's certainly more than zero, and it's especially elevated to the north and east of Youngstown. So here's a look at the odds of damaging wind gusts across the region today. The color scheme has changed on you here, but I'll guide you through this. In the red area that our entire TV viewing area is in, that's a 15% contour. In other words, there's a 15% chance of a damaging wind gust within 25 miles of any location in that red zone. So wind damage remains the number one threat with our thunderstorms today. A secondary threat would be flash flooding, I suspect, because there's so much moisture in the atmosphere today. It's very, very humid outside, and even though storms will be moving pretty quickly, they still may be efficient enough rain producers that in areas that don't drain well, maybe areas that are especially prone to seeing some standing water, some roadways and things like that when we have some heavy thunderstorms, those are areas we might have to briefly be concerned about, but I don't think this is a big flooding event. The wind is easily the number one threat later on today, and kind of a tertiary threat number 3 would be an isolated tornado. So let's get into the timing of our storms as we go into the evening. The timing really not good if you plan on taking in a high school football game later on today. I have not read up much yet this morning on what local high schools are planning to do. I did hear last evening that some schools have moved up the start of their game a couple of hours. I don't know if that's accomplishing a whole lot, and I'll show you why here. Because the threat for thunderstorms will be focused early in the evening. This is our high-res, the latest run of our high-res model here at 6 o'clock this evening. I've stopped the clock at 6 o'clock here, And we're not going to take this verbatim, it's just a model, but I think it has a pretty decent timing on the handle on the timing, I should say. This shows the leading edge of our storms at 6 o'clock, moving from northwest to southeast, or west-northwest to east-southeast, entering our television viewing area at around 5:30 to 6 o'clock this evening. If some schools have moved up their kickoffs to 5 o'clock or so, you're going to run into this still during the game. So moving up the kickoff a couple of hours really doesn't accomplish a whole lot. The threat becomes highest for the most people, I think, this evening, right around 7 o'clock, when most of our games would be kicking off. This is the simulated radar at 7, mean-looking line of thunderstorms moving through here at 7 o'clock this evening. Now, what's going to happen once the main line moves through any location? The threat will quickly end for heavy rain and damaging winds. Now, the threat for some lingering lightning, that may continue for a time. In this kind of general rain area back here behind that leading edge, there may still be some cloud-to-cloud lightning around. But the threat for damaging winds, really torrential rain, and a lot of cloud-to-ground lightning strikes will go down once this main line moves through your location. So again, the highest risk probably somewhere between 6 and 7:30 for the most people this evening. This is 7 o'clock I'm showing you. Here's 8 o'clock, and by this point, the main line, if this timing is right, and I suspect it is, the main line is already pushed well to the south and east by about 8 o'clock or so. So bottom line for you this morning, what I want to get across to you is we have a pretty significant risk of severe weather across our area today. It's unusual for this time of the year, and it's a situation that the timing really stinks because a lot of people on a Friday evening have plans to be outdoors. So you need to be weather aware today, particularly between, say, 5:30, 6 o'clock and 7 to 7:30. That kind of hour and a half to 2 hour window is what we are most concerned about. I'll, of course, be doing frequent updates on the Storm Tracker 21 app on my social media outlets this afternoon and this evening. And we'll be doing a newscast at 6 o'clock this evening, right when a lot of this is probably happening. So weather will be first and foremost on our minds on 21 News at 6 this evening. I'll probably be doing some Facebook Lives and some live streaming on the app and our website as well. After today, we are done with severe weather. We're done with summer weather. All of a sudden, fall is going to really kick in big time tomorrow. And by the way, fall officially begins tomorrow evening, just before 10 p.m. So again, look for updates from me and from our team throughout the day today. Stay weather aware, stay safe, and have a great Friday.